And we are live. Hi, everyone. Hi, coaches. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. Thank you for joining me wherever you're joining me around the world today. Or thank you for watching the replay. I'm Thomas Godfrey. I am the CEO and co-founder of Shift. I'm also the head coach. And I'm also the author of the book Shift. And today's call is all about the principles of Shift. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the principles of Shift. We're not going to go through all 10 principles. We're going to go through a few of them today, and really to give you coaches a flavor of the philosophy of Shift, with the intention to teach a few of the concepts so that you can go away and study it and try them for yourself and take the concepts away, take the ideas away, and try them in the coaching space with your clients. And I'd love to find out how you get on. I'd love to see what you notice. We're going to be exploring each of the shifts. We're going to be exploring some of the traps to avoid. We're going to be looking at some of the traps that we fall into. I guess the common coaching traps in the coaching space, and how we can deliver more as coaches by doing less, how we can lean into the present moment, how we can trust ourselves, how we can trust our clients, and how we can transform our outcomes, and how we can transform, ultimately deepen our practice and ultimately transform client results. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to start going through some of the shifts today. The entire philosophy of Shift, it's mindset mastery. It's about transcending the mind. It's about transcending the thinking mind and trusting in yourself, trusting in the client, that in the moment, the client knows the answers. The client has the answers within them, and that your role as a coach is not to give them the answer. It's to provide the space to help them find the answer that they already know. And when we're able to do that as coaches, we're able to trust in ourselves, we're able to trust in the client, and we're able to trust in the coaching space and trust that in the moment, the client will find what they need to find. And that's remarkably liberating, remarkably freeing as a coach, because we are not there to fix anyone. The client doesn't need fixing. We're not there to solve any problems. We're not there to make any sort of judgment whatsoever. We are there to provide the space where the client gains understanding, where the client gains self-awareness. And from self-awareness, when we provide the space without judgment and with compassion, the client is able to find pure self-awareness, objective clarity of self. And when we can see ourselves clearly, we can make decisions very clearly. So I hope that gives you an idea. I hope that gives you a flavor of the philosophy of Shift. And if you stay to the end, there's going to be there'll be a couple of links at the end. One of them is to join our growing coaches community on LinkedIn. There's going to be a link to that group. Also, there's the link to download the ebook of Shift, 10 mindset shifts, 10 chapters. It's now available to download for free. If this resonates, please download the book and read it. And I'd love to hear how you get on with implementing it in the coaching space. And if this content resonates with you and you'd like to explore further how Shift might be able to support you, you can book a discovery call with me. We can have a chat and really understand what it is that you'd like to, how you'd like to deepen your practice, and hopefully we can help you to embed these principles. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to go on to the this screen. So welcome to Shift, Mindset Mastery. I'm going to go straight into it. And the number one shift, and this is chapter 1 of the book, the number one shift is victim to creator. So let's start here. Let us start with victim to creator. So what does this mean? What is the shift from victim to creator? And this is the foundational shift that each of us have the opportunity to make on some level. Now, what we are not saying here, we are not calling people victims, but what we are recognizing is that each one of us, coaches and clients, human beings, each one of us has the has had the opportunity in the past, without realizing it, to some level to fall into the victimhood paradigm, the victim mindset. I'm going to write down here the victimhood paradigm, because this is important. This is strong language. But it's really important that we shine a light on this without judgment. The first thing to say about the victimhood paradigm is it's not your fault. Now, what do I mean by this? It's not your fault. This isn't supposed to be a play on words. To some degree, we each embody the victimhood paradigm. It's not your fault. It's kind of how we've been conditioned with the idea that we live in a cause and effect reality. Something happens here, something happens over here. There's a cause here, there's an effect over here. That's absolutely fine. Cause and effect. Okay, we all understand cause and effect. So how does this relate to victimhood? How does this relate to the victim mindset? Well, cause and effect, because we believe we live in a cause and effect reality, which to some extent we absolutely do. Because we believe that, what it causes us to do, without us even realizing it, is when we feel a certain way inside, I feel. Because of our belief in the victimhood paradigm, because of our belief in cause and effect, because of how we've been conditioned, when we feel a certain way, we immediately look over here for the cause. I feel upset today because, and then we look outside of ourselves, and we will either look to other people, we will either look to somewhere else in the world, we will look to situations, we'll look to news stories, or we will go back into our memory, we'll go back into our subconscious, and we will retrieve stories from our past. I feel this way because of my past. And this is where it becomes the victimhood paradigm. Now, we cannot change the past. And I'm not going to say that victimhood is a choice. We cannot change the past. However, we can absolutely choose to what extent we allow the past to impact on the present. So the past just is. It's already happened. It was real. But right now, in this present moment, the past exists as a story. As a memory. It's a story that is stored in the body because we feel it. We feel the past. When we think of a memory, we feel it. It's why certain smells take us back to the past. Certain music takes us back to the past. So the past is stored in the body. It's a story that's stored in the body. So here's the thing. No one can tell you you're a victim. No one. No one can convince you you're a victim. No one tells you you're a victim. A victim of circumstance. A victim of situation. victim of people, a victim of actions. So how does this apply to the coaching space? Really, it's quite simple. The extent to which the past shows up in the present is the choice of the individual. So this comes back to the past has happened. No matter how long ago it is, the past has happened. The extent to which we carry it with us today, the extent to which we retell the story today, this part is to some degree our choice. And this is where we become creators. Because the only choice that we have in the present is, do I keep on telling the story of the past? Or do I start telling the story of the future that I'm creating? So very simply, this is a shift about how we view the past. And in terms of the coaching space, and you will have experienced this, to all you coaches, I know you'll have experienced this. When you meet a new client, for instance, and they tell you their story, they tell you the story of their past. And then when they finish this telling you the story of their past, it brings them to the present moment. So we all do this. We all use our past to define our present, but we don't have to. We get to choose which parts of our story we continue telling. And that's when we become conscious present creators. So this is really an awareness piece in the coaching space. This is about opening the space up to your clients, and when they start to talk about their past, it's framing the past in terms of how is this helpful today and how is this helpful moving forwards, and which parts of my story, which parts of my history am I bringing with me? Which are the gems in my story that I'm bringing with me? I'd love to hear how you get on with this. Take it away. This is an awareness piece. It's about really acknowledging that, and in each moment, whenever we are referring to our past, we are in some way reliving it. And ultimately, when we get to choose which elements of our past we are ready to transmute, to move on from, we get to reframe our past in a very different way. And when we're able to reframe the past and retell the story of the past, that's when suddenly lightness comes. Suddenly all this lightness, we're no longer carrying this old story. It's being transmuted. It's been transcended. And that's when clarity of mind suddenly opens up. Victim to creator, shift number one. Okay, shift number two, excuses to accountability. Now, in a lot of ways, this is the kind of the physical, the real world manifestation of the shift from victim to creator. So what are excuses? What are excuses really? Excuses are disempowerment. Because what excuses are saying, they're saying, I did something because of something over there. So again, it's this distance. It's creating this distance. It's very similar to the idea of the victim mindset, the victim paradigm, where we're immediately putting ourselves at the whim of circumstance. I did something because of something that happened over here. I felt a certain way, or I didn't do something because of something over here. This is a really powerful one, the excuses one, because this is actually quite a difficult one to swallow. This takes a lot of honesty to be able to look at ourselves and see our own excuses. And this is chapter 2 of the book. And I talk about this in the book, that this was kind of the watershed moment for me personally, when I finally found the courage to look at myself honestly. So honesty and courage go hand in hand, because it takes courage to be honest about ourselves. And then when we're honest about ourselves, we're going to uncover a lot of the parts of ourselves that really we haven't been facing. It's the parts that we might not be proud of, or that we might rather pretend that we don't have. And when I found the courage to be honest with myself, and this is a beautiful process, by the way. This is a wonderfully liberating process, because you've just got nowhere to hide. And this is how I viewed it. I had nowhere to hide anymore from my own excuses. And when I realized, it was a very sobering realization, that the only thing holding me back was my own capacity to swallow my own excuses. So my capacity to swallow my own excuses. And the examples really aren't important here. You will already know, if you're honest with yourself, you will already know deep down. You know when you're making excuses, right? You know when you're making excuses. So, and this isn't about identifying in your client when they're making excuses, because that comes with judgment. And this is the trap that this is the philosophy of shift. This is the trap we want to avoid falling into in the coaching space, is thinking we know what's best for our clients. And thinking when they are recounting a story, the moment we think that they are making excuses, what we're actually doing, if we're honest with ourselves, is we are overlaying our own judgment onto their story. And the moment we do that, we've stopped being a coach and we've started being a judge. So when we think we're seeing excuses, when we think we sense it, this is when your intuition and your presence really comes in the coaching space. And this is where it's about transcending the mind. This is what mindset mastery is. Because when you recognize that you are judging the client, I think they are making an excuse, you can observe that in yourself. You can see that arising in yourself. And you can pay attention to that, pay attention to your intuition, and just notice what's coming up for them. So you don't know the answer. You don't know that they're making excuses. But this is where your true value as a coach comes in, I believe, is in being able to challenge without judgment. So, for instance, let's say that they're sharing a story, and it's apparent to you that there's a disconnect in what they're saying based on something that they've said previously. Now, rather than making a judgment to say, hang on, you're making excuses here, the way that we can present that in a coaching space is to say, I'm noticing, can I share what I'm noticing here? Can I share what I'm noticing here? You've mentioned this, and previously you've mentioned this. How do those two play into each other? Because by presenting it like that, there is no notion whatsoever that you know what's going on, because you never know what's going on. This is your superpower as a coach. This is mindset mastery. You are there. You're not there to understand them. You're there to provide the space where they get to see themselves clearly. You become the mirror of compassion, the mirror of non-judgment. So excuses to accountability. This is about saying, this is a bold statement. This is a very bold statement, but this is a place to begin. Or rather, this is an aspiration. This is aspirational, but let's start here. I accept 100% responsibility for my own outcomes. So what you're doing here is you're making a commitment. And even if that isn't possible, now there's no reason it can't be possible. There is absolutely no reason that in every single situation you can ask the question, what is in my control here? What is in my control here? But even if this feels like a stretch to say I accept 100% responsibility for my own outcomes, I don't think there's any reason that needs to be a stretch, because that becomes an aspiration. But even if that doesn't seem possible, why not pretend it is and live as if it is? And each day, in each moment, as the day is unfolding, the week is unfolding, the year is unfolding, and as you're reflecting on what is apparently happening, on what has apparently happened, on your own outcomes, very quickly, this gives you the laser focus to say, what is in my control here? And all we're doing here is we're shifting out of disempowerment and we're shifting into empowerment. We're shifting into our own power. And what it's doing is we're training our mind to focus on only that which is within my control. And anything else, I'm letting go of it. Because all the excuses are doing, what we're doing is we're giving our mind the instruction to find something as the cause of what happened, right? We're coming back to, it's all about this thing. When we're in excuse mode, we're always looking for this, and we will never, ever, ever run out of these. Because we're giving our mind the instruction to find excuses, there will be millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of excuses. And they're all very good, right? They're all very believable, but it's because we're setting our mind the task of find a reason for this, find a reason for this, right? Find a reason for how I feel or how I am. What we're doing is we're bringing our focus, we're bringing our awareness, we're bringing our attention back to the present moment, back to that which is within our control. So this is a shift from excuses to accountability. So in terms of how you take this into the coaching space and go away and try it with your clients, this is just a really powerful question here. What is in your control here? What is in your control here? What is in your control here? And this is one of the power questions of coaching, because when we're not judging the client, when we're not implying that they're making excuses, what we create the space then for them to be able to see themselves objectively and not grasp at excuses. And what that does, when we ask the question of our clients, what is in your control here? They are able to see what is in their control. And normally the answer is nothing, or at least very, very, very little. And that's a beautiful, liberating realization, because what that does, again, it frees up mind space. Suddenly, all of these distractions that are taking up energy and awareness, they aren't required. So this becomes a practice. What is in my control here? So take that one away. I'd love to know how you get on with it. Okay, number 3, adding to letting go. Right, this is really powerful. So this is the idea that we actually grow by letting go. We don't grow by adding. Most things we add aren't really adding value. So adding does not equal adding value. It just doesn't. And this is the material external validation paradigm that we've been given. I'm going to write this down here. The external validation paradigm. We might touch on this one. I might come on to it in a later slide. External validation paradigm, what does that mean? It means acceptance, right? This is where we are seeking external acceptance, attainment, stuff, achievement, and approval. The 4 A's. External validation. This is the trap. Again, it's the trap where we're seeking externally to solve to fill the gap of fulfillment, the internal gap of fulfillment. We think that we're going to fill it through external seeking. It's the external validation paradigm. Some people call it the dopamine quest, where we're always constantly trying to get these highs, but the dopamine high is short-lived. It's like a sugar rush, and it isn't actually the high that we're looking for. The high that we're looking for is internal alignment. So this is about grow by letting go. This is about the more we add, really the further away we're getting from that which we are truly seeking. And that which we are truly seeking, what are we seeking? What is anyone actually seeking? Whenever we get to this, and this is a bit of a philosophical question, and everyone's kind of got their own answer, but ultimately, what am I seeking? What am I seeking? Having coached hundreds of people from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, from all different demographics, both genders, men and women, the answer here is always the same. When we really get down to it, right? When we really get down to it, it is happiness, balance, peace, calm, and I guess really it's self-love. Ultimately, that's it. Obviously, I'm generalizing here, but I think that's a pretty good summary of what most people are truly seeking. And we already know this. This isn't news. So how does this? So this shift, adding to letting go. So how does this apply to the coaching space? Well, this is about encouraging the client to really focus on what is it that you are seeking. And it's never about the thing. It's never about the thing. It's never the thing that is actually being sought. It's about how you believe the thing, or the person, or the experience, or the achievement, the attainment, the acceptance, whatever. It's about how you believe the thing will make you feel. Right? So that is the long way around. That's the long way around. When actually it's about this. It's about this. It's about this feeling. This is what's being sought. So adding to letting go is the reminder, is the recognition that grow by letting go. You're letting go of all these things that are no longer serving you. And what this actually amounts to, it's going to be habits. So let's talk about practical examples. There's going to be habits, daily habits. Pick one habit. Everyone's got one habit they could let go of today, right now, in this present moment, right now. Everyone watching, you could let go of a habit today. You could make a promise to yourself right now, one habit, just one. I am never, ever, ever going to do that again in my life. I make that promise to myself right now. I make that promise to my future self. And I'm gonna make that promise every single day. I'm going to remind myself tomorrow. I'm going to remind myself the day after, until it's ingrained in my subconscious. And I never have to remind myself again, because I never, ever, ever would have done it again. We can let go of habits. Here's the real powerful thing. Oh, okay. Look, we can let go of people, right? If people aren't serving us, I'm going to put the past in here because this is about the victim to creator shift. The stories of the past. The past stories are only real because we keep telling them. We can stop telling them today. We can stop telling them today. But the biggest one, and this is where the opportunity lies in the coaching space, is beliefs. Ultimately, my world, your world, everyone's world, the world that we experience, the world of the mind is made up of our own personal collection of beliefs. So, and we see the world through the paradigm of our beliefs. We see the world through the lens of our beliefs. The, what's it called? I think it's called the RAS. Look this one up. I might be wrong. It is the reticular activating system. And what this is crazy. I think I'm quoting the right thing here. This is the process in the brain, in the mind, where we expect to see something, so because we expect to see it, we see examples of it, and we also filter out information that counters it. So, taking an example, if you've got a belief that women are bad drivers, for instance, or women can't park cars, and you stand in a supermarket car park for 20 minutes, you're going to see a lot of evidence to back up your belief, and it's going to reinforce your belief because you're looking out for examples of which as evidence for your belief. But what you're also doing at the same time is you are also subconsciously ignoring examples of men being bad drivers and bad parkers because it doesn't align with your belief. So that's the idea of the reticular activating system. And what this actually means is if everyone's got their own unique beliefs, millions of them probably, we all see the world through the lens of our beliefs. The world we experience is the world we believe exists. So this is where beliefs become really powerful, and this is where letting go of beliefs become really powerful. And the beliefs that obviously we want to let go of are the limiting beliefs. And ultimately, every single challenge in the coaching space, every single challenge, what is your challenge? Why do you feel stuck? When you start digging down, it's all down to a limiting belief. I've never been someone who. I'm just not. I'm just not. I've never been someone who, not someone who. Not someone who. And because we say it, because we believe it, it's in our subconscious, it's playing on repeat every single day. We experience a world where I am just not that type of person. I'm not someone who, I've never been someone who. So adding to letting go. Next one, thinker to observer. And I might have to cut it after this. Let me just do a time check here, guys. We are okay, 33 minutes. That's good. That's good. We'll go for a couple more. Thinker to observer. Okay, I love this one so much. I love this. You know, when I wrote this one in the book, I think I said at the beginning of the chapter, this could have been the first chapter in the book, and it could have actually been a whole book on its own. Now, this is the concept that changed my life. The first time I ever heard it. I mean, all of these concepts have changed my life. All of these concepts have changed my clients' lives. And I hope these concepts in some way change your lives and just shift how you're viewing things and shift your mindset. And this is such a biggie. This blew my mind the first time I heard this. You are not your thoughts. And I think I don't remember where I first heard this, and I think this might have been my interpretation of it, so I don't think I'm direct quoting anyone's quote here. I think this is my interpretation. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of thought. Excuse me. So this is the mindfulness. This is the mindfulness message, really. This is kind of the heart of anyone that's interested in mindfulness, anyone that's practiced mindfulness meditation, and anyone that's studied. I guess the nature of awareness. I guess this is what this shift speaks to, the nature of awareness, and this ultimately is mindset mastery encapsulated in one shift. This is possibly the heart of mindset mastery, is the shift from thinker to observer. And this is the idea that you are not your thoughts. For so long, we have become conditioned to identify our very sense of self, our very essence of being, who I am. We've become conditioned. It's just an assumption that I am my thoughts. And for whatever reason, it makes sense, okay, but this is challenging this idea. And so the example that I'm going to use here is when you hear the sound of a dog barking, you immediately, you experience the sound, you observe the sound through the sound waves that come in through your ears and that get translated into an electrical signal in your brain. It's sound waves. So, but you actually, you observe it right here. You observe it in your body through the sound waves that come in through your ears. But you are able to place the source of it outside of yourself because your ears can hear that the sound is coming from over there. So you hear the sound of a dog barking. Now thoughts, but you don't identify with the dog because you identify with it. You identify with yourself as being separate to the sound of a dog barking because you can put distance in between yourself and the dog through sound waves. And that's how you don't think you are the dog. You know you are the observer of the sound of the dog barking. Thoughts are different, and this is such a bold assumption that even that our thoughts are our own. We assume that because we can't hear our thoughts with our ears and we can't see them with our eyes because they are outside of the five senses, apparently, we assume they're unique to us. But how would we ever know if we're sat around the table and we have a thought? How would we ever know if everyone at the table isn't having the same thought at the same time? We assume it's our thought. We assume it's unique to us. This is the shift that challenges that idea. It challenges that idea. And if you are just able to make that one subtle shift in awareness, in taking that one step back from the activity of the mind, they're not your thoughts. You are the observer of the activity of the mind. You're the observer of thought. And thought really is just an activity of the mind. It's just the mind doing its thing. And when you start to pay attention to the activity of your mind, what you will notice, and I'm pretty confident to say this, again, I used to think this was just me until I became a coach, and then I coached hundreds of people, and the same patterns keep arising over and over. When you start to pay attention to the activity of your mind, the activity of your mind, and I would even say it's not your mind, it's the mind, the activity of the mind. You are the observer. You are the observer of the activity of your mind. You are the ever-present observer. Thoughts come and go. You, thoughts are clouds. You, the ever-present observer, are the blue sky. You have no obligation whatsoever to invest your awareness into a thought. So as the ever-present observer, you get to choose. Which thoughts to invest your energy into, or your awareness. Which thoughts to invest your awareness into, which thoughts to simply let go of, and which thoughts to act on. And that's it. You're the observer. You're the ever-present observer. Oh yeah. So, and look, try this out in the coaching space. I encourage you to encourage your clients to detach their identity from the activity of their mind, because most thoughts are repetitive. I think, is it 95% of thoughts are the same as yesterday? So when I started paying attention to the activity of the mind, I just noticed how repetitive, ruthlessly repetitive my thoughts are and were. Thought loops. They're just loops. And one thing that is really, 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 really powerful, and this is where journaling is a mega, mega tool, is just start journaling your thought loops. Journal your thought loops. Encourage your clients to journal their thought loops without judgment, just as an objective observer. Because when we're able to detach our sense of self, detach the I from the activity of the mind, we're able to look at them without feeling any way about them, without feeling any guilt, shame, regret about our thoughts. And then we're able to just transmute them and let them go, because we realize they are not us. You are not your thoughts, you are the observer of thought. Right, I hope that's been helpful today, guys. I think I'm going to call it there. That's 43 minutes. That looks really good. We didn't get onto distraction to focus today. We didn't get onto motivation to consistency today. Okay, thank you all very much for watching today. I hope that you found value. I hope that these principles have sparked your curiosity. I hope these principles have resonated with you, and I hope that you found enough value in this video to be able to take these concepts away and apply them in the coaching space. And I would love to hear from you. So three requests from me. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your valuable time. I really appreciate you investing your awareness in this message, and I really hope it's been a helpful message. I've got 3 QR codes here. Please scan them all or take what resonates. The first one is to please come and join us in our coaches community on LinkedIn. The second one is booking a discovery call with me. If this has resonated with you and you'd like to find out more about the Shift Coaches Collective and how you can embody these shifts, how you can integrate these shifts into your coaching practice and deepen your client results, jump on a discovery call with me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to chat through any of these concepts with you. Even if you just like a bit more clarity on some of these concepts, jump on a discovery call. I'm very, very happy to chat through all of these principles. And then thirdly, on the far right, Shift, the book, 10 shifts, 10 chapters, is available. You can get the ebook. It's absolutely free. Follow the link. You can sign up for the newsletter. There's 10 shifts in 10 days challenge. You know, when I wrote this book, so I wasn't an author. Okay, it's pretty crazy to me how this happened. I've never considered myself an author, right? So this is the self-talk thing that I was talking about. I'm not an author. I'm not someone who. So my whole life, I'd said I wasn't an author. I thought I was dyslexic. I kind of let go of all these limiting beliefs, and two people said to me within 2 days of each other, totally independently, you should write a book. And I sat down, and in 3 days, I had the title. I had the title of Shift because I've been working with this idea of mindset shifts in the coaching space. And in 3 days, 3 whole days in a row, I wrote this book, and it flowed out of me. I had the 10 mindset shifts, I had the 10 chapters, and the content just poured through me. It was crazy, and I really didn't know what I had. Until I kind of tidied it up over the next couple of months, and I kind of got a bit of structure to it. I kind of put a bit of stories and some background and client stories and stuff like that. And I didn't know what I had until I found the courage to share it with my wife, Claire. And she said, yeah, you've got something here. This is really good. And that's all I needed to hear, because I just didn't know what I had. And I shared it with a load more people on LinkedIn. And thank you to everyone who very kindly read the draft manuscript. And the feedback that I got from the draft manuscript, it blew my mind. It really blew my mind. And people said it was life-changing. And that's all I needed to hear. So, and it makes sense to me, because these concepts are not about me. I feel like I've discovered these concepts, and I feel like they're universal, which is why I'm very passionate about sharing them. So I hope this has resonated. I'm going to come back out of here now. I'm going to come back on the full screen to say thank you, to say cheerio. Thank you all. I'm Thomas Godfrey. I hope this has been a valuable video, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.